You keep working here.
But if I don't go with you, who's gonna tell you
Just
that?
need a bit of peace and quiet from your incessant yapping. Charles, make him work. Whip him if you have to.
Uncle. A man whose life is a masterclass in the art of pleasure seeking. He's the Vandalin gang's resident hedonist, a professional freeloader whose philosophy is simple. If it feels like work, it's not worth doing. For most of the game, he's defined by his appetites for whiskey, for sleep, for a life free from the burden of effort. We see a man who uses his ailments as a shield against the world. I got lumbago, he groans, a phrase that has kind of become his motto. It's very serious, he says. This isn't just an excuse, but a declaration of his hedonistic principles. Pearson needs help? Lumbago. John needs a hand building a new life? That's a terminal case. He lives for simple, immediate pleasures. The warmth of the sun, the haze of a good story, the bottom of a bottle. He's a jester in Dutch's court, seemingly content with his role as just the camp's fool. But what if all of this, the laziness, the drinking, and the endless complaining, was a carefully constructed fortress of a man who understood the world better than anyone else? What if the ultimate hedonist was hiding one last but solid truth about sacrifice? To understand, Uncle, you must recognize that a life dedicated to pleasure offers its own unique form of an outlook on life. Unburdened by ambition or ideology, the hedonist sees things for what they are. While the gang was mesmerized by Dutch's grand visions, Uncle, focused only on the simple reality of their well-being, saw the decay long before anyone else. In a rare moment of sobriety, Uncle confronts Dutch. Shielded by his reputation as a harmless drunk, he speaks a truth no one else dares. He dismisses Dutch's delusions of grandeur, saying something like, "You want to be an American king with his knights. I just want better than this for us." A hedonist has no use for kingdoms. He just wants a safe and comfortable place to exist. When Dutch threatens him, Uncle expertly retreats behind his own fool persona, a classic tactic of using humor to disarm a dangerous man. He saw Dutch's vision as a threat to the simple pleasures of survival. This pragmatic, pleasure-seeking worldview extends to his advice, too. When John Marston is overwhelmed by the prospect of building a home, it's Uncle who offers the path of least resistance. Oh, you don't build a barn. You just buy one pre-cut. This is the industrial age, he says. In that moment, the laziest man on the ranch is also the most practical. For the hedonist, the goal is the comfortable home, and the most efficient path to that pleasure is always the correct one. I don't think Uncle's hedonism is a simple character quirk, but a defense mechanism from his painful past. He avoids talking about his history, but the fragments that he does reveal paints a picture of intense suffering. Orphaned at a young age, he survived on his wits. He hints at failed marriages and an abusive family. These are not the grand tales that he spins at the campfire. They are glimpses into a real trauma. From this perspective, his relentless pursuit of pleasure, the drinking, the napping, the avoidance of responsibility, it's not laziness. It's a desperate attempt to outrun a lifetime of pain. For a man who knew nothing but hardship, a life dedicated to simple physical joys becomes a form of self-preservation. He found a home in the gang, and when it crumbled, his hedonism deepened into a mourning for the only family he ever had. And it may seem strange for a pure hedonist to be loyal, but Uncle's loyalty is entirely practical. Once he commits, it's certain to happen, because he understands that sustainable pleasure requires a stable environment. He complains and shirks, but he never abandons the source of his comfort. He's one of the few who remain through the gang's collapse, and more importantly, he chooses to stay with John. In the epilogue, he helps build Beecher's hope. He moans about the work, sure, but he is present, investing his minimal effort into creating the ultimate hedonist paradise, a safe home with food and drink and a family. This bond is tested when he is kidnapped and tortured by the Skinner brothers. A sane man, a man not committed to his source of comfort, would have just fled after that. But Uncle returns. He comes back to the ranch, not out of abstract duty, but to reclaim the peace and the pleasure that he had helped build. His loyalty is an investment in his own well-being. He even tells John, "Don't worry, I ain't going nowhere, you'll bury me here." It's delivered as a joke, but it's a statement of a deep and hedonistic truth. This ranch is the best life he's ever known, and he will not give it up. But I believe the final proof of Uncle's philosophy of hedonism is not from a witty remark, but in the face of annihilation. His life was about avoiding conflict and seeking comfort, but when Edgar Ross and the army descend upon Beecher's hope, the hedonist becomes a hero, making a final choice. There's no mention of Lumbago. He doesn't run and hide, but he grabs a rifle and stands with John to defend the home that represents the pinnacle of his life's pursuit. This isn't just loyalty to John, it's defense of his entire existence. The ranch is his source of pleasure, and the army is the ultimate threat to that pleasure. When shot, his death is not a pathetic end of a drunkard. It's the defiant last stand of a man who died protecting his paradise. That one act can reframe his entire philosophy. The man who lived only for his own pleasure gives everything when that source of pleasure is threatened. In the end, the only choice that makes sense for a true hedonist is to make the ultimate sacrifice, that being his death, to protect the only real happiness that he has ever known. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deeper look into the characters of Red Dead Redemption 2, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. So, who was Uncle? Was he the lazy, drunken fool of the Van der Linde gang, or something more? I kind of think he was both. He was a master of hedonism who built a fortress of jokes and complaints to protect himself in a bad world. His laziness was a strategy, his lumbago a myth, sure. But beneath that surface was a man of deep courage and a pragmatic loyalty for the sources of his comfort. Uncle's story is like a tragic comedy, a brilliant piece of writing that, like Reverend Swanson, challenges us to look beyond the surface. We laugh at his performance, but we are ultimately moved by his final choice. He reminds us that even in a life dedicated to simple, selfish pleasure, you can still find a moment of selfless meaning. Thanks for watching.
Uncle, what are we doing?
Well, we're gonna do what any self-respecting maniac does.
Put the women to work.